I'm excited. So today's session is sort of like an evaluation. I'm trying to figure out how to sort of codify this procedure so I can, prototype it with other groups moving forward. The video that you guys made was like, it was mind blowing. Like it really was like very cool. What we're doing has a lot of potential, and I really want to hear more about your experience. So what I've done is I've put together questions, and I'm going to try to time it so that we can really get through the whole question, basically the protocol that I'm trying to put together. Olivia, are we recording this?
I just started recording, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I guess just for my notes, I just want to record the discussion that we're going to have. I'm not going to share it with anybody, but just for my notes. Okay, so first, let's watch the video. Should I share my screen, or I have permission to do that, right? Yeah, I do. Okay, let's watch the video together, and then we're going to go around, and each person is going to talk about their clip. Let's try to keep it under a minute so we can go around it. But yeah, let's see what everyone put together. Okay, video. It doesn't have sound. I can like imagine a soundtrack to this being really interesting. Okay, so trees. I see trees. I shouldn't say anything. I just can't get enough of this.
I love the flying bicycles in the previous clip.
This is just like so beautiful. Like who made this one? It's like beautiful. I was like, wow, this is like art.
Yeah, this one's cool.
Okay, great. So now let's watch it again, but this time we'll break it up and we'll have, let's hear from who made. Watch it again. Okay, let's hear. So now I guess Ian made this one, right?
No, this is not mine.
Oh, okay. So who did clip one?
Oh, I think that was Shruti, wasn't it?
No, I have it written down somewhere. Oh, did my screen share just end?
No, we see your screen.
Oh, but you see all my like personal stuff. Okay, here we go. Oh, I don't have the list here. Let me grab it real quick, so I can just easily call out.
Oh, it was Steven. Sorry, I just pulled it up. Okay. Yeah, Steven is unable to make it. So scene 1 is Steven, scene 2 is Yuru.
Yeah, okay, so that works. Why do I keep popping? Something is my computer is like demanding attention. Okay, how do I go back to my screen? Is this it? No, I don't want this. Sorry, guys. Here. Okay, so, okay. Do we just want, how about as a group, we'll just talk through what we see here in the first scene. What do we, yeah, so.
Well, I love that cars like are labeled with the angry face because
Yeah, for emissions, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was wondering whether this emoji, what it means here. Like, because if I was just thinking about it from an abstract way, it almost looks like he's talking about, yeah, the emissions. But did anyone else have another interpretation?
like no cars, right? That would be my interpretation. We should have like buses and trees.
Right.
Yeah, or that cars are frustrating.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like road rage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if we're going to use the categories that you had described in your kind of categorical like thesis or whatever that diagram was, it could express an emotion, or it could express like a definition. So it could be like how Stephen feels, or like it could be an emoji to like encapsulate what they actually are doing, which is emissions, which is like, more objective.
It's also kind of rude, like the cars itself, since like the space is like demanding its own space, like that they're not sharing it based on the signage too. And I think that's why like Stephen incorporated a bicycle. I don't know where, but like.
Yeah, the bike comes a little later.
But like, it's like a clear demarcation of like land entitlement, like lanes.
There it is.
But currently it's like not allowed, but then maybe the bicyclist inclusion is just like hopeful.
There is a bike lane right there behind the trees.
Behind the trees, but like in this particular lane. And I think if we go back a little bit earlier, there was like signage like no trucks, no bikes. There. You zoom up a little bit.
Oh yeah. The red sign, you mean?
Yeah, on the right. So it's like the no
above the bus.
The bus.
Oh
yeah, in front of the bus.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, well, I guess Stephen can't really explain what he meant by these things, but it's cool just to think about how these symbols can like have multiple meanings and how that's actually like, I don't know, to me that makes sense. Like it makes sense that this symbol could mean more than one thing. Okay, I'm just for the interest of time, I'll move on to the next clip, which was mine. Wow, welcome to the insides of Rue's mind. So here the first thing I thought was that, okay, this is just like, there's too much concrete. Like I would love to see the environment have more trees. So I kind of put this big heart here with the trees almost to like reimagine like the horizon. Oh wait, let's actually watch it in real time. So yeah, I just really liked this this emoji with like the planet. And I don't think that, to be honest, the planet, I didn't have an intentional reason for the planet. I just really liked the perspective of the trees and the way that it kind of lined up with the road. That's just from a purely visual point of view, I chose that emoji because it kind of captured perspective. And then I guess I reimagined how we use space. Like I would actually put the traffic in the middle. Like I would put buses and vehicles in the middle and transform the outside to more of a nature walk that would accommodate pedestrians and bikers that move at a slower speed, because that way then you can kind of integrate the pedestrian pathway into the trees. That's what I was trying to communicate here. I probably should have symbolized that by adding pedestrians here. In this clip, I guess I was trying not to like think about it in continuity. I was almost trying to think about it as like a totally separate scene. So here, I guess I just didn't like this concrete, from a design perspective, this like concrete wall is really ugly. So again, I was just imagining how this space could be utilized where I'm trying to see people see a society where people are moving in, I guess buses, but I don't know, I like the idea of people like having agency over what they carry. So I like use people in carts, because carts are, almost like another imagination of a bike. I guess how we use bikes, I could kind of imagine that capturing the life that happens in the pedestrian plaza, since that's like, tourism is a huge part of the Brooklyn Bridge. And then I guess I was really interested in the buildings around the space, and I was reimagining them as like moving spaces. So again, I could imagine these vehicles, like instead of having buildings, like we have these vehicles that allow us to be in transit while we are in the office. So I don't know, that was the thought process behind my stickers. So moving on to the next clip. Who did the next clip? Oh, no one. Oh wait, no, there's something here. Was this Mike's?
I think
No.
it was Andrew.
Oh, sorry. Olivia, if you wouldn't mind, if you have the list up, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, it's Andrew Buck. And this was mine.
Okay, but is Andrew on the call?
He is not, no.
Okay, so I guess like, I don't think he used
It's-
Instagram here. I think this doesn't look like Instagram. I think he's just commenting on my driving here. Okay, so what is he saying? Tricky 3-lane merger. So he's noticing that from a driver perspective, there could be some sort of solution around merging lanes. Then he says merging of pedestrian, cyclists and traffic. I guess he's just talking about, I guess here you get like a visual of the pedestrian center. Then lift off, pedestrians rise above the traffic. It seems like he was just more labeling what's happening in the video. Okay, so now next scene. This was Olivia's?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Again, beautiful.
I'm imagining opening that, if you don't mind pausing it for a second, that main area with the truck, where the vehicles drive would just be open and turned into a field. And then I guess I was thinking like it could be grassy and natureful, and then connecting somehow like visually or theoretically connecting to the other bridge, which you can see. And then if you keep going, there's like a camera, because I was like, oh, like it's remiss that we're in the vehicle area, but you can't actually like stop and take a picture, even though could theoretically be a good place to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like an X on the car, because I'm like, no cars.
I'm curious to know what, do you remember what word you typed into the Instagram to find that X?
I just did an X.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, you know what? I didn't. I thought I did, but I actually just used an emoji X from my keyboard.
Okay.
I don't know if that's cheating.
No, it's not. I mean, there's no cheating. The instructions were to use stickers or emojis. So I'm just curious, because I'm just curious to know, like, I don't know did you guys receive the short survey I sent? I sent a form. I'll resend it again today. I would really love to get an idea of what words you use to find these stickers, so we can kind of start to categorize that. Like, do you remember like what word you used to find this image?
So these were, I typed in grass.
Okay.
I think yeah, again, just to create that feeling of a meadow.
Is this a different scene, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
this is what I did.
yeah, I really think it's interesting. It's interesting because when I watched this video, and I saw connect, at first, like I guess like my first instinct was from again, if I was just watching it as a viewer, like I wouldn't understand, but I see how in facilitating a design workshop, it's actually very powerful here. Can you, like, I can imagine like sitting in a workshop where somebody just like rambles on and on about what they're talking about. I don't know, that's my sense.
Yeah,
I'd love to,
I think as a visual tool, it's really helpful. I actually think that it comes together nicely though when people talk about it.
Yeah, does anyone, so Olivia, when you described the idea of connection and the theoretical connection, does anyone have any ideas for what a theoretical connection could look like? How would we connect the Brooklyn Bridge to the Manhattan Bridge, and why would we connect those two bridges?
I was thinking giant hammock for a public space, so we'll all hang out on the over the river. That's quite theoretical.
Yeah, but probably feasible. A hammock. Okay, cool. Anyone else? Did anyone else think of how or why would designers connect these two bridges?
I would think the connection might come at the egress, so not between the actual bridges, but where they land in the public space and what's going on either side of the river.
Yeah, waterfront connection.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, I'm gonna participate. I thought that I could imagine like an art, like a public art thing, like lighting. I mean, and I wonder if there could be a way where the two bridges could talk to each other somehow. Like,
Yeah, that's sort of the last slide, the one that I did with the lights. Like,
yeah.
That's sort of what I was imagining, like music or lights connecting the two spaces, and like they talk back and forth to each other, like through a Wi-Fi network or something.
Yeah. So, and then I was thinking about functionally, I wonder, so actually a piece of data that I know is that the Manhattan Bridge has the most amount of freight traffic of all the bridges in the city. And it also has the subway line. I think it's like the yellow trains or the F train.
BQ.
The BQ, okay, yeah. So I was wondering if there was like a way to like designate like different functions to the bridges. But of course, like, you know, I wonder if like, you know, that one could be the pedestrian bridge and one could be like the vehicle bridge. I don't know if that would be a way to like control traffic flow or the experience of the crossing of the bridge, but I don't know, just ideas. I think the idea of connection here, like if we had more time, we could really dive into what that means, like how we would define that. But for the interest of time, let's just hop to the next clip. Okay, who did the next clip?
I did, George.
Awesome. Hey, George. I love this. I love how you got the perspective here. How did you do that?
You mean like turning the emojis or the stickers?
Yeah, like it's, yeah.
I found ones that were kind of like at an angle, and then when you tap it, you can like flip it horizontally.
Oh.
Well, so those bikes, they're not flying. They're supposed to be on future infrastructure. And like the arrows that you see, they got cut off, but in iPhone view, like in portrait mode, the arrow on top said, I forget what it said exactly, but it said like separate bikes onto existing infrastructure. And then the bottom said, provide more space for joggers, commerce, and tourists. Because there are some people that sell items on the Brooklyn Bridge, but it's kind of cluttered right now with all the bikes. And I'm speaking from personal experience because I used to bike on, well, I still bike on that bridge. Well, not now.
Oh, you do?
But I did.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that experience?
Yeah, it's just really crowded. And there's wedding photos and tourists and vendors. Yeah, what?
It's so funny because I drive on this bridge all the time, and I had no idea what actually happens on the pedestrian plaza.
Oh, a bunch of stuff.
Weddings. What am I missing?
Yeah, well, like wedding photos. I don't know about actual like ceremonies, but
I feel like those should be banned.
Yeah, I mean, so I kind of stole this idea because I know there's proposals to make a bike lane on top of the joists that are above the vehicular traffic, sprayed out the bike lane. So I kind of just reiterated that and put in some joggers, a tourist, and a guy playing guitar. And
where's the guy playing guitar?
He's further down, like when the pedestrian area.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So the idea is that there's a layer on top of here.
Yeah. So that guy's hopefully like in the place of in the communal space, not on the beam. But
and so in this design, would that mean that the light would be obscured at the for the drivers on the road? To some degree, anyway.
Some degree, I guess, because there would be probably wood slats, so water would still get through and like some light, but not a lot. It'll be probably a similar material that's existing on the pedestrian side. Yeah, one thing like from the user experience that I found was like it was a little hard to like pin the stickers because I don't know, some would appear from distance and some wouldn't. So I think you can see the woman in the pink shirt running, even though she's supposed to be at the very. I pinned her at like the last second of my video.
Yeah, I'm impressed by your pinning skills because I feel like you tried a lot harder than I did.
Yeah.
Okay, attention to detail makes a big difference in this. Do you remember what words you used to find these stickers?
Yeah, just bicycle, bike, and then jogging, running, jogger, runner. Yeah, just like all variations of bike and jog.
Okay, cool. Anyone else want to add anything? No? Okay, who did the next video?
That was me.
Okay, Ian.
So I really struggled with pinning stuff. But basically I actually had a very similar thought as George, where I can like decipher what these mean to you. There's like confetti up here, which I was really trying to pin to the like skyline and to the supports of the Brooklyn Bridge to sort of signify that there are these exciting landmarks. And then below you have people driving who are passing at a much faster rate. So they're not really on the bridge for like a leisurely scenic experience per se. They're usually using it as like a conduit to get where they're going. Whereas I feel like most people walking, except I guess maybe not George biking. Most people walking, it's like a lot of tourists and might be, doing it in a much more leisurely manner, which is why I have like the sun and the moon. And then the squiggle on the side was to sort of indicate that like you can't really see out of these steel trusses. It sort of occludes the view. And then I did this in Instagram and didn't know that the music wouldn't export as well, but that is Making My Way to Town by Vanessa Carlton.
Good song choice.
Yep.
That's a long walk, 1,000 miles.
What kind of what word did you put for the steering wheel? Just steering
I think I actually put steering wheel.
Okay. Are there any symbol? What about the squiggle? You drew the squiggle.
Yeah, the squiggle I drew. The sun and the moon was just weather. I think the confetti was confetti. And then I think the people were a mix of like walking, pedestrian. I don't think pedestrian like came back with a ton of results. So then I had to sort of step back and do like walking. And
I think it's really interesting because, from a visual animation point of view, this confetti doesn't represent confetti, like, right? It's not like, it doesn't
No, it's supposed to represent like excitement.
Okay, so I can see some sort of relationship because you throw confetti at parties. But also, it's just very interesting because it could also mean like it could also just be like a visual thing. It could be like, oh, what if there was a light show here? Or like, what I mean? It could be purely visual. And so I think for me, like being able to create a key where I can help users find this image is very useful, because I think this is a really useful image that can help people think about spatial design, but they would like, who would really think to type confetti? Like there's no logical connection there. It's just purely creative, I think.
Yeah, and I tried like sparkle too to like pin it to, is that the Frank Gehry building right there? Or like the skyline and the arches on the bridge. So I had that, but I felt like this, I don't know why I went with this.
I thought it made it look like a high fashion like catwalk.
Yeah.
Like drama.
Yeah, it definitely has that vibe.
Catwalk. Yeah, I loved it.
That's what's interesting about, I guess, like what's really cool about George's is that I really like the use of perspective here. You actually feel like you're walking past these people. What I love about Ian's is that they're in sync. They're moving at the same tempo, and that really also creates a really strong visual sensibility, just purely from a design point of view. But I guess it could be interpreted some way, a catwalk.
High-end catwalk.
Someone going to say something?
I was just re-emphasizing that it's a high-end catwalk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, make some money. Okay, so next clip. Who did that one?
Let me check. Hold on.
The next one didn't
Mike?
have any
Oh,
stickers in
yeah.
it.
Okay, I guess no one did this one.
So I don't know if it's because I did mine on Canva or not, but I put up the MP4 in the drive folder that has, it should.
Oh, yeah. So it's in there right now? Let me grab it.
Yeah.
Okay. Drive. God, I have to go through all my stuff. Okay. Oh my God. I'm like the most disorganized person. I feel so exposed right now. You know what? I can find it from the email thread that we had going on. Okay. I just like type in Olivia's name to find everything. Okay, here. It was in here, right? Okay. Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. Load. Was it scene 7?
Nope, I'm
Oh.
8, but these don't look like the files in the folder I saved it into. I might have put it in a different folder.
What did you put it in Olivia's folder or let's see, let's go back.
Yeah, I saved the folder that was sent.
I think it's in, if you go to Brooklyn Bridge video clips.
Yeah.
Okay.
Video clips, yeah. It's at the top.
This one, 10? No.
Well, it's at the top of mine, but it's
It's corrected.
Someone else want to, do you want to share your screen?
It's right there, scene 8, right?
yeah.
Oh, yes,
that one.
correct. Oh, yeah, okay, I see. Thanks. Okay.
Oh, cute.
Oh.
The
All right.
promised land, I love that.
Hey, what's wrong with Brooklyn?
No, it's
like Manhattan.
Manhattan Brooklyn thing. That's
This
just
is really interesting. Okay, so talk us through your thought process.
Sure. I felt like actually the most striking thing was that you're nearing the end of the trip and then coming into the city, and depending if you're a commuter or tourist or somebody, that I would imagine that completely tired with New York. That's a great scene to see coming in the city like that.
You arrived.
That's what my little promised land sticker is.
I don't know, but don't you think nowadays people feel the opposite about Manhattan? They're like, get me out of here.
And then fences just for the, showing that there's borders, that there's no, you're on the bridge, so there's no way in or out until you come up to the exit. I kind of had the same idea with the stay in your lane sticker, just being, when you're driving, obviously other cars are potential hazards, not much else while you're driving.
Mm-hmm.
And since I did mine in Canva, it wouldn't let you timestamp anything. So I put the stickers or the emojis on at certain times. So the heart eyes smiley faces for the municipal building, and then the flower down towards the bottom is for the what are the trees with the white flowers? Dogwood, cherry wood, maybe trees. But that's for towards the end of the video when you see those as just a visual of something happening at the end of the bridge. The fence kind of blocks it. With Canva, you have to put on the stickers and they just stay there for whatever length of time the video is for.
That's cool. I love these hashtags. Can you tell me how you thought of that?
Yeah, I looked at your video.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Nothing too special. I just copied. Not the same ones, but I just kind of used them as general feelings of driving across the bridge when you're towards the end of the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Okay, feelings. That's an interesting. So the feelings of from the perspective of the person, like I guess you would be you're imagining, I guess, a driver hashtagging how they feel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So essentially hashtags can be used to give to empower users to describe their experience and perhaps be seen for that, because hashtags have like searchability functions, right? That could be interesting from a user research point of view, because like, you know, what do they do now? Like they send out surveys, but you can't really capture how you feel in the moment. But I like, it's really interesting to me that you're thinking of using because I was thinking of using hashtags in terms of like a social campaign or like tourist points that are like, you know, visibility. But it's really interesting to me to think about like, what if people used hashtags as a way to say how they really feel about something in the moment? And what if market research or user research was completely transformed by using hashtags to get ideas from people rather than try to like constantly put them into demographic buckets to be exploited by capitalism.
Yeah. This is a way of categorizing too, a somewhat more direct way, like how you're talking with marketing. You know, it's hard to maybe put the emojis all in one emotion, I guess.
Yeah, and also just think about it. Like if you were doing a user research test and trying to ask people, like, what is your experience as you cross the bridge? It's so general. Your experience can vary from one day to another day, or even the time to the other time. And then here you can get actual real-time information, like how do people feel during rush hour versus during noon?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really interesting to me. Huh, you're a genius. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, who did the next one?
Kelly, I think.
Is she here? I didn't see her.
Yeah, Kelly's on the call.
Kelly, do you want to talk?
Kelly, you're muted, I think.
Oh.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm only catching like every fifth word, so I'm slow on the uptake.
Oh, your audio's not good? Okay, well, can you talk us through your video clip and what it means?
Sure. So I think I did this backwards from everyone else. I did a current conditions assessment thinking we were going to do the reimagining together, but
that's what I did.
So
wait, who else did that?
I did.
Yeah,
that's how I looked at it. Was kind of what was there, as opposed to what I wanted to be there or what could be there.
Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't open-ended. I think this is really critical to, as designers, if we were a team, it would be essential to have both perspectives. So, okay, that's interesting. So, sorry,
yeah,
Kelly,
so there's like literally no pedestrian or cycling infrastructure when you're on the on and off ramps. So I just tried to show that with the emojis, and then there's like some pretty good views when you're on those ramps of the bridge and of the skyline, and then the underside of the bridge looks really heavy and aggressive, so I just put all caps infrastructure.
Like, what's the relationship between
like
infrastructure?
Really, sorry?
Oh, I said, what's the relationship between infrastructure and like the heaviness of the design?
Yeah.
No, but what were you
aggressive and welcoming.
So you think this is something that could be reimagined?
Mm-hmm.
And so also when you have this bike with an X and the pedestrian with an X, that means you're not trying to say that bikes are not allowed. You're trying to say that currently there is no pathway for bikes and pedestrians. That's what it means?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And
I mean, really, if you were keeping this as a vehicular bridge, I'm not sure you would want to mix pedestrians and cyclists in the same space as vehicles anyways. But if I was reimagining it, there wouldn't be any cars on this bridge.
There wouldn't be any car. Oh, okay.
I second that.
No cars. Ban
No
cars
on the entire bridge.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
maybe cars should be directed to the Manhattan Bridge because
Third
it pretty much takes you to where you need to go. It doesn't really make much of a difference. Interesting.
It's already the most, like the Manhattan Bridge apparently has the most freight traffic already, and then impacting it with additional vehicle traffic.
Yeah.
And then it's already, and I think
Well, I mean,
there's
really, I
been,
would say ban cars in New York City.
I'm sorry?
I would really just say ban cars altogether. All bridges. No cars going into Manhattan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that it could be interesting, yeah, to then you would have to create like parking lots or like some sort of like rideshare plaza or mobility hub at either end so that
And congestion pricing wouldn't work
Transit.
anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last clip is Olivia again.
Yep, I mean, just as mentioned earlier, like connecting these two bridges in like a visual or theoretical or like emotional way by like having light shows at night.
Okay, so now the concept of connection seems very clear to me.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, interesting. Let's let me stop sharing the screen for a sec. So that was really cool. Let's kind of debrief a little bit, like just an open-ended evaluation discussion. I'd love to get an idea in the most general sense of like what, my question, let me make sure I asked it. What did you understand from this activity? Like, what was your big takeaway? Like, what do you, like, as a person participating in this, like, what did you feel was the point?
I mainly thought it was to, through a visual, so in this case, emojis, stickers, to show what we felt and saw was there. I also thought it was very interesting, though, that the two main ways we saw it were what was there and what we would want to be there. So I think you'd probably get that from a lot of people if you took this out workshopping, that you need a lot of feedback on what somebody would want and what people see as there and how they're feeling currently.
Okay, yeah, there's definitely two different perspectives on, you know, how people use visual language to kind of label the video, and both could kind of lead to a design process, right? Anyone else? Like, what was your main, like, what was your main takeaway of like, why am I doing this? Or how could this be used?
To me, it felt like a visioning exercise. Just as a way to kind of like start the brainstorming process for design ideas.
I think it also like has people think about something that's so routine to like really just pause and really think about, if this is their daily commute or whatever, what it is like, and break it down, because sometimes we just do things because it's muscle memory. So I think being conscious of our actions every day, I think that really is helpful.
Yeah, I felt like this specific request that you asked was similar to what a lot of people do, but it was a different medium, because we do it all the time with charrettes and drawing and renderings and things like that. But this was different, and to actually like talk about how this was different and what's unique about it, it was just like the similar language, which was stickers. So we all had the same bucket of parameters, and it was in the same program, and it was kind of quick and dirty. So I couldn't really like show my bike lane as proposed as I wanted to, but it was kind of just like a really fast way to just get the ideas out, kind of like what Olivia was saying. So just like a brainstorm, and everybody had the same medium, the same kind of like.
That's interesting. So like when you guys have to prepare for design charrettes, like, do you find that the tools or the medium or like your actual ability to like visualize things can sometimes be a barrier to communicating ideas? Is it hard?
I think that It can be, because a lot of times you want to try and design an activity that you can in some ways kind of quantify or claim that it's a little, basically you want things to be like mutually exclusive. So you'll put a sticker on one side or put something here, whereas this felt much more open to interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a good thing?
It can be. I mean, I can imagine if you were doing this with thousands of people, it would be useless.
Yeah. No, but like and also like when you do a design charrette professionally, how long does it usually take to, you know, go through people's ideas?
I haven't done that since I was an intern.
Yeah,
Always
I
like
haven't done that, but I also think like the fact that it's the same bucket. So like so when we often do like research papers or whatever, we have to operationalize variables. By you having that, like providing that set of like emojis and like design stuff, sorry, it's just like all
Visual language.
the visual language, it already like operationalizes, so then it's easier for the research team to break that down, because otherwise like in a design charrette it's very open-ended. So like while you can design the questions or activities to be like almost binary, it's never guaranteed. So like then you are just sitting through qualitative narratives.
Okay, so you felt that the visual language helped add some sort of logic to what would normally just be subjective, qualitative, open-ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. I think so. That's like sort of what we would where like systems thinking comes in, where you begin to start to see things as interactions. But in order to see these interactions, you can't just view that each element as like a separate entity in its own. You want to start to like figure out what categories become relevant. And of course, like the way you categorize things can change depending on your actual case study, like, or what field you're in. However, in systems thinking, if you think about it just conceptually, just the idea of categories in and of itself is like, is sort of, as you said, a language tool that we don't often use in our day-to-day, even though we have the ability to do it on our phones. Okay, so I have a couple of like specific questions. So did anyone else want to add anything about their experience using visual language? Like, did you guys like, was it frustrating for anybody?
Yeah, a little bit. Just the perspective. Well, so I came in from a different angle. I really wanted the perspective to be accurate, and then like the duration of each sticker to be accurate. So it was. I felt a little I get frustrated trying to portray my exact image or like my exact idea, but like I threw a couple down and I got the hang of it. And it was a little bit limiting because you couldn't put a sticker on something that was in the background. It would like stick to the foreground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pinning thing was kind of hard. Did anyone have fun with it?
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I found that like just the act of uploading this to Instagram like totally changed my mindset. Like it became less academic and more like fun and cool.
Well, yeah.
Framing, where I was doing this activity.
So that's a great point. Like, so how many of you actually imagine this as something that would end up on social media? And how many of you kind of saw it just as like, okay, we're just accessing the images on social media, but it's not supposed to be posted on social media? I'm kind of curious to know if any of you thought about that. I mean, I guess Ian just shared, like, he kind of thought, he noticed that putting it on Instagram made it more fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just utilized Instagram software and then saved it to my camera roll.
Okay.
Should post it, but.
Do you use Instagram normally?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But could you ever imagine like having a reason to share this on your Instagram stories?
Sure. I mean, in terms of like a design objective or some sort of like charrette that I'm a part of, yeah. And I guess like each person's story could just like be in a larger story. Like then you would like you as the moderator, like organizer, could like curate each story and like instead of stitching a like MOV file together, you could just do a Instagram story.
Yeah, and it could be like remixed. Yeah, that could be like really cool. That's sort of like where I'm going with this. Like I kind of wanted to play around with other videos. Like I kind of wanted to do a video of me walking through a COVID-19 grocery store and like asking people to like again reimagine like from a service design point of view. But from a research perspective, I might just stick to the same video so I can have consistency in the end and really focus on what would happen with this like intermixing. Because like you guys are like a group that have something in common, you're urban planners, but I'm going to be conducting this with other groups of people that have similar similar backgrounds to each other, because I do think that is essential in the discussion part, the fact that you all kind of have a similar training. But in systems thinking, we want to be able to see different perspectives. So it could be interesting to share these same clips and then figure out how it's like remixed. But yeah, okay, so any other thoughts on like the functionality of social media in terms of, you know, either a toolkit or maybe a user engagement platform, or just in terms of sharing your own self-expression as an urban planner, like, you know.
Yeah, I feel like using Instagram, maybe, I guess I use it more as like an emotional platform, and that's maybe not the right word, but like, you know, to convey when you're having fun or you're feeling relaxed kind of thing. So I found myself using the stickers and the emojis as emotions rather than literal, which I suppose is like sort of the point, but I don't know if that makes sense.
So you felt that because you use Instagram stories, it already has an affordance, which is like, it's kind of like your diary. So it was, what you didn't feel that the affordance of the stickers changed. Like it didn't occur to you to like explore the stickers tool set and find like cool images, or is that what you're saying?
I only caught like 6 words out of that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Is it because the connection is bad? I wonder if it's worth repeating the question.
Or typing it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's type. Oh yeah. I love Zoom. Okay. Kelly. So did you feel, what was the question? I'm so bad at asking questions. Did you feel that the affordance, does anyone want to help me out? Did you feel that the affordance of Instagram
motion compared to showing what is I guess more real, I think is what she was saying.
As a personal narrative tool can have additional affordances? Is that what I'm asking?
Well, so I just in the interest of time, we have about like 9 minutes left.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious maybe to see what people who didn't participate, like, you know, just since this is the first time you're being exposed to this and you saw the video, I'm not trying to, I know if there's like a burning question you need to ask.
No. That's perfectly great. Yeah, this is, no. That was great.
To see, like, hear from like Veronica and Tim and Cami, and Lorraine about like their understanding of what this is and why it's valuable.
Yeah, I guess what struck me as everybody was going through it and talking about each part of the video was it kind of got into an interesting space that, say, like when I'm working, of course the day we don't necessarily get to, which is actually dealing with the physical space that you're talking about. And everything in terms of talking about the stickers, in terms of perspective, spaces, everything that was there, just kind of like this hyper thinking about like each aspect of the frame, I think really familiarizes you with a space in a way that, like, you know, I work on tons of projects that are extremely place-based. And, you know, I'm sitting there, and engineers, architects, lawyers, we rarely, you know, will have even a site plan in front of us as we're talking. It's something that we have for reference, but most people are talking about a project where, like, the physical context is not front and center. So I thought it was just really cool that everybody was kind of diving into, this is the space, this is each little part of the space, this is the perspective of it. And it just really got you thinking in a way that I think is really important if you're talking about urban spaces or just any type of space, because I think especially, you know, like, I mean, most of the time I don't work with planners. Most of my day is spent around people who are doing other things, and they don't necessarily think in terms of the actual physical space. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Do you think this could be a way to engage, the public? Like, could you imagine people just doing this for fun, like around their communities, as like a way to reimagine things that they see in their everyday life?
I think it could be a really helpful way to, like, start a discussion about a space, because, like, you have to, like, break people into it. And a lot of times, like, when you have a community meeting, like, people are talking about things, and they like, you know, if you're talking about the Brooklyn Bridge, how many lanes does the Brooklyn Bridge have? You don't know. And, like, you're not thinking that. And like, okay, so bike lanes, where are you going to put the bike lanes? This is a great way to really get people familiar with the space. I think if you're talking about, like, a public design process. I mean, I don't know how far it could go in terms of the process. I mean, I'm sure there's, like, at some point there's going to be a limit, but it really, I mean, I thought it did a great job just in terms of breaking down that initial barrier of, this is the space, put yourself in it.
So I have a question for the group based off of that. Like, do you think it would have been helpful to have, like, a key, like, of emojis? Like, you know, I gave you the systems thinking 6 categories. Like, would it have been useful to actually have, like, a screenshot or, like, some sort of glossary of emojis or symbols, and how to, like, you know, how to find them or what they mean? Or do you think that leaving it open-ended to allow people to look at different perspectives and the full range of thinking and creativity, like, which one is actually more valuable in the field of urban planning, and for what purpose?
I think having the full range is more useful to the user, whoever you're asking to do the project, but having a limited amount, or maybe having them categorized, would be more useful for you on the back end to actually then be able to put that data in some kind of, you know, organization so you can work with it, as opposed to there being thousands of different emojis that people are using, and then
Or customized ones, like they could draw something, you know.
Oh.
That's interesting. Huh. So, like, create a data analytic model for emojis.
Yeah. That sounds like a whole nother project, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, but that's like what we do in our digital media programs. You know, that would actually be.
Yeah, and people are, I mean, you could already do that. People are taking tons of Instagrams on the Brooklyn Bridge and captioning them with emojis. Like, this data already exists.
Yeah, and so, yeah, that's true. The data does exist. So I think if you were a data researcher, you would take that information and begin to categorize what people are already doing. But the thing there is that they're not, there's no clear purpose. Like, they're not all trying to reimagine the bridge. So,
yeah.
But I'm sure the data analytics would be very useful in creating that language. Because then I think you would create the language and then present that language to groups of people with a clear goal or question in mind.
I was thinking maybe there would have to be like a fine line of juggling, like how much categorization and like the words, because it almost prescribes like certain emojis to certain feelings or certain ideas. So like you're kind of almost then priming whoever's doing the searches for the emojis to create a certain result. So it's just like finding that balance between like, here's an entire list of emojis, and then you could like search for them. But like, it was like, I think when George was saying how he searched for like pedestrian, like if that's not a typical word, but it was just like, that's a different user than someone who could just be like biking or a person or walking. So I think it's just how not over categorizing it, and then like it also like could have result in people just like, I can't think of a better word right now, but half-assing the project by like just clicking, oh, this is the first word that comes to mind, bam, put it in and done. It will like prompt people to be more thoughtful in this exercise.
That's okay. Yeah, have any of you heard of the game Concept?
No.
It's a game. It's on my blog, or you can Google it. But essentially, it gives a board with like visual symbols, and then it has pieces like that. And the idea is to get players to guess. You pick a card, and it has a phrase or a word, and you have to like use these like visual symbols to get them to like imagine the word. So I wonder, that's where the idea of maybe providing a key just to give people a sense of what symbols mean either emotions or verbs or certain elements in the system. I wonder if that would help people actually create their own language, because it's not like I'm giving people a definite definition that, okay, like if you use this emoji, it means this word, but it's more like it means this general sense that if you string it together, it empowers the user to kind of create new meanings and languages. Like, is that like something that you think as professionals would help you engage better with, community members that are not professional and may not know the terminology of urban planning?
I think I got lost a little there.
Oh, the question is, do you think that using a conceptual visual language helps professionals communicate with lay people or like stakeholders?
Yeah, I would say so. I like the idea of creating a team. It doesn't matter who the team is comprised of, creating their own design language. And then it's like this never before seen design language that you can theoretically, or systems language that you could apply to anything. I feel like that's kind of what we started doing here, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, and if anyone could create their own tool or customize their own features or symbols, like, does anyone have like ideas of something that like you would feel like would make this activity a lot stronger? Like, if you could just customize it?
With the given visuals, is that what you're saying? The actual visuals that we use, the stickers, emojis, and that stuff?
No, I just mean the whole activity, the whole idea of creating an interactive charrette using video and social media and visual symbols, right? I used what was easily accessible, right? I didn't build Instagram. I didn't design the emojis. I mean, I took the video, but like, I wonder of those elements, if you as the user of this activity had more agency to customize any of those three aspects to better achieve the goal of this exercise, like what would it be? Like, would you just like create a symbol that had something? Would you create a hashtag? Would you create your own platform? Would you, like maybe incorporate a video tool or audio? I'm trying to get an idea of how familiar you guys are with, using this medium as a form of communication and not just as a design tool?
I think it would be great to create a hashtag that sort of empowered people to, you know, just to do exactly that, to reimagine the Brooklyn Bridge. And then you could sort of crowdsource it to people via Instagram or Twitter, and then you could get so much more feedback than what you would typically get at like a design charrette or like a community meeting, because you just have this constant data stream.
That's a great idea. And don't you manage the APA Tech Committee social media?
I do.
Yeah, I wonder, maybe we could like brainstorm trying
Not
to
alone, but yes.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm throwing it out to all you guys. I'm not trying to like single you out and like put you on the spot, but I just thought of the idea. Like it could actually be cool now that you kind of see where I'm coming from, if we try to like think about how to redesign this to see if it could create engagement for your Instagram.
I think you really could permeate much deeper into like the population of people that are actually using the Brooklyn Bridge than by holding a town hall meeting.
Yeah, I think that would be a great point to prove to those baby boomers.
I love it. Well, guys, in the interest of time, maybe Rue, just like some final thoughts or just wrapping this up, and then I'd like to take a picture if that's okay. At the end, I have my camera ready, so let me know when we're ready for our group.
Awesome. You could also just do a screenshot.
Oh, true.
I was gonna say.
But I also, let me do both though, because
yeah, I mean, that looks like a really awesome camera. Okay, well, just to wrap things up here, the next steps for what I'll be doing over the next few weeks is refining this activity and really thinking about, you know, testing how people respond to visual languages, also seeing how, you know, how people interact with the affordance of social media. Like, do they see it as a design tool? Do they see it as a way of expressing their personal feelings, or do they see it as a way of engaging and communicating with people? I would love to explore the idea of design, like, you know, tweaking this activity so that we can also test to see if it brings engagement and visibility to what you guys do as the APA Tech Committee, as almost like a social, a community, digital community organizing or participatory research initiative that kind of asks the question, like, can we get more robust information from stakeholders through this process rather than a town hall meeting? So yeah, those are next steps. Thank you guys so much. This was like, you guys are all super smart, and I'm very grateful for you playing along with my idea. This is really, really cool stuff. I can't wait to see what happens, and I'd love to stay in touch with any of you if you have any more feedback for me or would like to collaborate, because I'm trying to make, you know, trying to make this happen as much as possible. So I'd love to stay in touch. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. This was so fun.
Yay!
Right, guys, picture time. Analog and then screen.
Kelly, you just.
I would like to propose that we all hold up a symbol. Like
We all hold up.
or a symbol of some kind in keeping with the theme.
There's really not that many symbols.
Okay, ready?
They're
One,
appropriate.
Wait, I don't.
three. 1, 2, 3. Okay, a screenshot.
I have hands, Annie.
Thanks,
I'll just do that.
guys.
It's very.
Oh, wait, with the hand sanitizer, yeah.
Yeah. Face masks.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like the emoji. Clever. Good one. All right. Well, this is so fun. You guys are brilliant. I would love to, again, I would love to keep brainstorming with all of you. The feedback was like so amazing. Thank you.
You guys,
Thanks for the idea.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
take care.
Good night,
You know where to find me. Follow me on Instagram. Okay, I really mean it. I really mean it. Okay, I have like no life right now. I like need to like talk to people. So, okay. All right. Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.